Okay, so now we're going to see how this relates to geometry. What does this have to do with geometry? Well, sometimes in some of the problems that we have in geometry when we're setting up equations, sometimes they end up with an x squared in them, and that's what we're going to look at now. Now, if you have not looked at the other videos from 10.6, you probably will want to go back and look at the other videos, or you know, if you weren't in class for 10.6. So I would make sure, if you have not looked at 10.6 videos, or either that or in class, that you do that before you move on to this next part. So you've got to know how to set up this formula. You might remember we did, and these might not necessarily have been the exact letters I used, but you know, there might have been different variables. But if you remember, the formula for this was A times A plus B is equal to C times C plus D. Okay, so this times that whole thing is equal to this times that whole thing. Well, these are going to be a little bit different from the ones we did earlier. So I'm going to do x times this whole thing, x plus 3, is equal to 4. No, I probably wouldn't put that in parentheses, but 4 times this whole thing, 4 plus 6. We'll look at that. So look, x times x plus 3 is equal to 4 times 4 plus 6. Then you've got to solve this equation. Well, look what happens when you distribute. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Here I would just do, I mean, you can distribute there if you want to, but I would just do 4 times 10 and get 40. Now, since this has an x squared and an x in it, you're going to be working some problems like 1 through 4. Now we need to get the 40 on the other side, so we're going to do minus 40 minus 40. And you get x squared plus 3x minus 40 is equal to 0. And once you get to this point with the 0 over here, you've got a factor. So you're going to say, what can I multiply to get negative 40? Take the same two numbers and add them and get 3. Look at this number first. Now, there are a lot of different ways to multiply and get 40. I'm probably not going to list all of them, but you've got 1 and 40, you've got 2 and 20. You know, you should be able to work down and find 5 and 8. Now, notice I want a positive 3, so I'm going to use this one because negative 5 plus 8 is positive 3. So you're going to do x minus 5. X plus 8 equal to 0. Now notice, look, again, when you multiply these two numbers, you get negative 40. When you add these two numbers, you get 3. Now you're going to set both of those equal to 0. Then you're going to solve each of those equations. So when you solve this equation, you add 5. And when you solve this equation, you subtract 8, giving you negative 8. Now, if we were working an algebra problem, our answer would just be like it was up here. You would have two different possible solutions. I don't think I finished this one. Back up to number 4. I should have finished that. X is 6 and x is negative 5. I don't think I finished that one a while ago. But you should, I'm just looking at my problem here. It looks like I didn't finish number 4. Oh well. But I should have finished that out and got x is 6, x is negative 5. Okay, now, going back to this, though, you have two different possible solutions. Okay, this is number 5. Now, in geometry, one of these makes sense and one doesn't. Which one do you think does not make sense? Well, we cannot have a negative measure, so there's no way that x could be negative 8. So that is not a solution. So in geometry, it's okay to have negative variables. You just can't have negative distances. So we mark that out, and the answer is only 5. Okay? If you would like to pause the video and try this one, you may. Okay? So you're going to start by doing x times x plus 6. And I'm going to put this up here so I've got more room. X times x plus 6 is equal to 5 times 5 plus 8. 5 plus 3. Okay, so look, x times x plus 6 is equal to 5 times 5 plus 3. Make sure you always start from the outside. Outside the whole thing, outside and the whole thing. So you're going to distribute here. You get x squared plus 6x. That's just 5 times 8, which is 40. Then you're going to subtract the 40 on both sides. That's an X. There we go. Minus 40, minus 40. Then you say, what can I multiply to get negative 40? Add to get 6. And, you know, you're going to have the same list to try from as you did here, right? And, you know, if going back to the same list, you would have also checked out 4 and 10, right? So look at that list, and which list gives you, oh, hang on, there's somebody at my door. I'll come back later. Oop.